Simply? Simply what? Oh, is that word game? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. See, that's going to throw me off, like, every time. Alright, starting off, we have this rank 5 Link monster for Tri-Brigade. Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus the second? I don't fucking know. And guess where I would place it? I've never used it, so I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I would put it at B tier personally.
B tier? Why?
It's effective and amazing in the sense of it's good removal. The only downside is though the requirements that actually get it hard on field. Require you to have 2 to 3 Tri-Brigade spells / tracks in the grave, which most of the time is not met.
And then I would put that in C because of how much setup that is required.
It's a B or C kind of thing. It's decent, but it has its problems.
I'll put it in C. Next up is its spell card, Tri-Brigade Roar, which again is another card that I know nothing about. That should come to a shocker to no one. And it requires you to control a Link monster, which isn't really hard to meet. However, my issue still stands. I've never seen it used.
I don't know what it does.
It says, from the quote, if you control a Link monster, send 1 Tri-Brigade card from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Then target 1 effect monster on the field. Apply the following effects based on the type of card sent to the graveyard. If it was a monster, change the targeted monster's attack to 0 until end of the turn. If it was a spell, negate the monster's effect until the end of this turn. And then if it was a trap, return the monster to the hand. And you can only activate once per turn. It's super situational. I put it in never used, personally.
The only way you're using that is if you're trying to run the Link 5.
Yeah. Nerval is the next one. This one I know from heart. It's basically lets you add a Tri-Brigade monster. Is it specifically Tri-Brigade or is it like a beast monster? I think it's Tri-Brigade monster.
It's a beast monster from what I remember. Beast.
Hold on. Okay, no, it is add 1 Tri-Brigade monster is what I'm referring to. Yeah. And it's usually done with a graveyard effect. I would put this in, because this is a search, it does require it to go in the graveyard. And because of the Link monsters, like level 1 Link or rank 1 Link monsters, this card is easily like maybe an A tier. I wouldn't put in S tier because of how the engine works. But because it searches and there's a lot of utility that can be used with this, I would put it in A tier, personally. What do you think?
Nerval was one of the 4 key components of like monsters that need to use for their Link. So A to S tier is definitely where I put it.
Yeah. I only put it in A because you don't want to run too many of this card either. Next is
That's Tri-Brigade Material.
yeah, you know what I put this as?
Never used because it's actually used and branded.
Exactly. So, and because it's only really used and branded, it's just not very much used for Tri-Brigade. Unless you make branded Tri-Brigade, then you would be using it. I would say.
Synergy's very off.
Yeah. Next is another spell that I've never seen. It's a continuous spell. Tri-Brigade Standoff. It limits what you can special summon to Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast. And you can send one monster from hand or field to the graveyard to add a Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand with a different original typing than that monster. It's also limited to once per turn, and if it is destroyed, your opponent cannot declare an attack. Where I would put this is never used, straight up, because there's so many better ways of getting your Tri-Brigades into the graveyard.
And the main reason why it's never used is because everyone runs thinking instead of that.
Right. The next one is Tri-Brigade for Jet, the Barren Blossom. I feel like I always fucking...
Oh. Yes.
I always mispronounce, but I also think it's also the cutest card out of all the Tri-Brigades. So that might put me in a little bit of a biased situation.
It's also very good for extenders.
Yeah. So I would put this, because it's used in Tri-Brigade variants for quite often, I would put it in like A tier maybe, or low B tier. Or early B tier.
I'd say A tier because it's used an awful lot.
Right.
Because, for example, I think it's Karis, I can discard one to special summon itself.
Mm-hmm.
Summon another one, link to into that, use its effect to then normal summon level 4 lower Tri-Brigade monster, use that Tri-Brigade monster effect to banish to then get another link on field.
Right.
Which then means I've now used that to extend to potentially go link 3 or 4 into an Appaloosa with another link 4 on field.
Next one we have is Tri-Brigade Revolt.
That's a trap, which is pretty good.
I would, without any questions, even though you can run it at 1 in any variant build, and it'd still be ideal, it's because it's so searchable and it does nasty shit that I would put it in S tier, even though you can get away with running 1, 2 at the most. You do not need to run 3. So, you agree with that one?
Yes, Revolt allows you to bring back Tri-Brigade monsters from, I think it's Graveyard and Banished.
Yeah, it's Graveyard and Banished.
Summoned, link summoned with that when you got.
But what makes it even better is it's not just Tri-Brigade monsters that it brings back, it's any Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster that it brings back to get into a link.
Yeah.
Remorn has said something. Ranking Tri-Brigade. Yes, we were ranking Tri-Brigade. Speaking of Tri-Brigades, our next one is Bear Drum Rampant. Yeah, we're just gonna call it Bear Drum.
Bear Drum.
Yeah. This card I would still put in A tier. I wouldn't want to put it in S. But I also wouldn't want to put it in B. Because it's also the main reason you get Revolt, but you have to link it off. Yeah, I'll go with A tier for that reason. Like, far back A tier. That's where I would put it. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, IGL works.
Yeah. Well, we really don't have anything in Tri-Brigade for B tier. So next we have Caress. Caress only really has one usage ever.
Caress is good, but Caress relies on the other cards to get off, however.
Right. And it's a free extender too, because you can just discard a Beast, Winged Beast, or Beast Warrior to special summon it, so you don't have to use your normal summon, which makes it nicer. However, because it's so heavily reliant on everything else to be active, I would push this in B tier. You do run this. You run this at like 1 or 2.
Caress can be a one-card star, but it's if, for example, you open Caress and Nerval. You go Caress effect, send Nerval, special summon itself, Nerval effect, engrave, Fractal effect, discard itself, send Kit, and Kit sends another copy of the Tri-Brigade card.
Which makes it fine for running it at 2, but that's still situational, which makes me feel like it still would be a B tier that you would run at 2. Like, it's a necessary B tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put that there. Next card we have... What is that card? Oh, okay, here it is. Airborne Assault. And for everyone else that doesn't know what that does, it is a quick play spell. And what it does is it targets one beast, beast warrior, winged beast monster you control. Special summon one beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monster from your deck to defense position with a different type and with less attack than or equal to that monster, but its effects are negated until the end of this turn. And you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except link monsters, so it does lock you in. You can only play one at a time. Once per turn. Of that copy, so it's like a hard once per turn. You know what where I want to put it? Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Out of it, so.
Yeah, that's the sad part. When we don't know what a card is, it's probably a bad sign.
Especially if I play against some people plays Tri-Brigade Lair.
Right. Next we have another Tri-Brigade monster that is occasionally used but not always used. Which is Rugal the Silver Sheller.
Oh yeah, that's very used to a place.
Yeah, so I don't want to sit there and say never used, because it does get used from time to time, but I also don't know if I should put it in B tier or C tier.
I'd say it's high C, low B up there.
You know what? We'll put it in high C for now, until something, as we go along, find that something else is. We're missing something. Next is Kit. Tri-Brigade Kit, which is usually ran as a one-of that actually extends the Tri-Brigade engine, which is kind of nice, but I don't think it is world-class. I would put it in B tier because it is something that is used still quite often. Usually as a one-of. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it does something similar to Kit, but only if it's sent to the graveyard. Or not Kit. Kit does something similar to Fractal, but like only if it's sent to the graveyard. It doesn't get discarded.
Yeah.
Next card is Tri-Brigade Showdown, which apparently is a continuous spell card. And I had to look that up too. I would put that in never used. Straight up, without even an explanation. Straight up, never used. And it says you can target one of your banished Tri-Brigade monsters. So if in a pure build, you might use it, but like even then, probably not. And you add it to your hand. After damage calculation, if your Tri-Brigade monster battles an opponent's monster, that's the part that I really don't like as well. Is the battling thing, because sometimes you're not going to have a monster to attack sometimes. So it's kind of situational. And it says you return that opponent's monster to the hand, which kind of defeats the purpose. Well, not really, but like it what's the words I'm trying to say here?
It's very situational, very neat.
Yeah.
The only way that would be good is if I was to purposely crash into a monster that's just slightly higher than mine.
Mm-hmm.
With some defense to then remove a blocker.
Yeah. But then again, wouldn't you no, you wouldn't. Yeah, so that's still situational. Next is Tri-Brigade Oath, which I actually forgot was a thing. What it does is that you target one link monster you control, special summon one beast warrior, or winged beast monster with a different type from your hand or graveyard. If you control at least one of each beast warrior, or winged beast monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up spell or trap your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. And you can only use its effect per turn, once per turn, and only once that turn. The first effect is a bit slow, and the second effect is situational, so I would put in never used. Like, it's a trap card that's just, it's not worth running.
Yeah.
And next is our favorite card, Tri-Brigade Fractal. Oh yeah, I was gonna say there straight up, yeah, S tier. No, we're gonna put it in never used. It's just a bad card. It's just terrible. No, it's a card that starts off with your play starters.
It's literally a one card star. The only time it flops is on ranch.
Yeah, and a great way to basically search out this card is through Fire Formation 10 key, which is usually ran at 3 as well. So you're basically running 6 fractals.
That's once if you open up a fractal and 10 key, because when you go to play with 10 key first, let your opponent try and Asher, you then fractal through the whole combo.
Exactly. And then next is the spell Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. It's a power bonus for monsters. And in protection, but it's never used. It's
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, do you want to know what it does?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so it says target any number of linked beast warrior, and or winged beast monsters you control. They gain 700 attack until the end of this turn. If a linked beast warrior, or winged beast monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead, and you can use each effect of this card once per turn. It's a little bit situational because it also means you have to have beast warrior, and winged beast, but 9 times out of 10 you're not having that many when it's ready for it to have any good decent use. Like maybe you'll have the Tri-Brigade boss monster and that's about it. So I still think it's a never used card.
Oh, definitely.
Another card that is now on our list is Ominous Omen. I'm not going to say the full name because that's a lot of work. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely never used. Oops. It's never used. It's terrible. No, it's actually goes up with Revolt. You will still run 1 in the extra, but it's tied with Revolt, and it acts out in a very nice disruption.
Oh, definitely.
And it is also like a decent beater too, because its attack is 3,000 as well. So it's a, well, actually I say S, but it might actually be an A, because after it's summoned, its effect is no longer valid.
And it's then whenever a beast is focused on.
Oh, right. So yeah, no, that still remains S tier. My bad. So yeah. Any disagreements, chat? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? It's okay. Just let me know. I want to know.
Tri-Brigade sucks. Let's fight.